Okay, looks like we're good. Let me just double check Facebook. All right, we're all set there. We'll let some people join us. Gotta get my coffee ready.
All the things.
Right. All the things, yeah. Okay, we will go ahead and get started. Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another City Updates live broadcast. I'm Jamie Chavez, your host from the Westminster Chamber of Commerce, and thank you for being with us here today. As always, we are here to bring you the latest insights straight from City Hall, featuring conversations with our councilors, our mayor pro tem, and other city leaders. And it is your backstage pass to what's happening in Westminster. So if this is the first time that you're joining us, thank you for being here. A special welcome to you. For Facebook viewers, you feel free to like our page and follow us for future notifications for when we go live. And if you're on YouTube, you can hit subscribe and explore previous broadcasts there as well. Mondays on the broadcast are all about city updates. And on Wednesdays, we offer a chance to meet some of our newest members of the chamber and to learn about their businesses. So I encourage you to join us for those as well. And then also on the last Friday of the month, we reserve that day for a conversation with Jefferson County Commissioner Tracy Kraft-Tharp. So stay tuned for those ones as well. As you watch the broadcast this morning, don't be afraid to engage with us. Drop your comments, say hello, ask any questions, and we'll be sure to get to those during the interview. And now, finally, a warm welcome to Councilor Claire Carmelia. How are you today?
Good morning. I'm great.
Good.
Good morning, Westminster. My brain's a little sluggish this morning. It's Monday, but
yeah, same. Yeah. Let's see. And happy birthday. Yes, Dave says happy birthday. We wish you a happy birthday here as well.
Thank you.
When you were like, I'll do the broadcast on the 16th. It's my birthday and I have to work anyway. I was like, well, I feel that, I guess.
Yeah, right. I'm like, I might as well just throw it on there. I've got everything else going. It's not like I'm taking the day off. So yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. Well, happy birthday. We've got Councilor DeMont joining us as well. Thank you for joining us and good morning.
Oh, good morning.
Well, how was your weekend? How are you doing?
I'm great. It was really good. For me, a good weekend means I went hiking and I did do that. So that was good. And gosh, what else did I do? It was busy and I never remember why, but it was good. I did a lot of things.
Your birthday?
Yeah. And I did. And I went to I did not know this. Let me share this really quick. Apparently the old spaghetti factory right here on, Sheridan and 92nd, they once a month do a murder mystery. What? I didn't. Yeah, it's amazing. And so that's where someone, my current partner, they took me to that for my birthday. And I had no idea what I was walking into. So that was a blast. It was really fun because I just walked in. I didn't know what was going on, but everybody's dressed up and in character. And it was so much fun. And I'm definitely going to the next one. So highly recommend.
Well, I'm going to have to reach out to them so that we can get that on our chamber calendar because they are members of ours.
They are?
So it's like the second or third weekend of the month, I guess. What was that? I guess it was
It was on the Friday, so maybe that's the second. I don't know. You'd have to ask. I don't know if it's always then or not. But it was a really great discovery. Now I know. So, yeah.
So we have a couple more people joining us. Hi, Christina. Good morning. She also says happy birthday.
Thank you.
And Parker, thanks for joining us, Parker. All right. Well, what have you got for us today? What fun updates do you have for us on your birthday?
Yeah. Council's busy as we always are. And so today's big item, which takes a whole year really to prepare, is the budget. So if you are curious about the budget, if you have requests for the budget, or if you just want to know what's going on and where the city's money goes, I really recommend you tune in to tonight's study session because we're doing a deep dive on that topic. And while we all get the opportunity every year to provide input about what we want to see and where we want our dollars to go, now is the time. And so our individual reviews from council were already due to the staff, but there's still opportunity, right? We're not approving the final budget until October. And so this is me saying, this is your chance. If there's anything that you did not talk about yet that you want to make sure we're aware of, let us know. This is the time to do it. We're also, another big topic at the moment, which not much is bigger than the budget. I mean, that is a process in and of itself, but we're also talking about the Greenway Trail today. So that's been an ongoing kind of hot topic. And so if you're curious about information on that, I have a feeling that we'll hopefully have more of an update next week, because tonight's session is going to be an executive update. We need to get some legal advice around that issue. And I know a lot of residents are eager to hear more about where we're at. We don't know where we're at until we find out more. So tonight we're going to do a deep dive on that. And hopefully we'll get some good information for next week so that folks know where we stand. Those are two really big issues alone that we're going through today. But I'll mention a few others, right? New city manager, we have a finalist, which is really exciting. And I hope that folks got the opportunity last week in the open meet and greet to talk to him. But as we know, Jody's been around for a while, so hopefully most folks have already worked with him in the past. And right now we've named him as our finalist, and I hope that everyone's as excited as we are, because he has his heart in the right place, and he's such a good worker for the city and a good steward for all of us, for council, the community. So that's upcoming, and that's really exciting.
Yeah, we're definitely in his corner too. It's he's always been very easy to work with, and yeah, we're excited for him and this opportunity.
Yeah.
Dave says Jody's the best.
He is the best.
Yeah, so that's exciting. Yeah, we're excited to work more with Jody and see where he takes everything.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to see if I can do reactions on these comments, but I don't think I can.
Oh.
Darn it.
That'd be a good feature.
Yeah. Pretend I'm putting confetti on your guys' comments.
Yeah. Yeah, now I'm trying to figure that out too. I don't think there's any way of.
That's okay.
Yeah. All right. Well, what else do you have for us this morning?
Yeah, well, what I can do is, so I just wanted to talk about the absolute most pressing issues, but I'll talk a few of the more overall items that we've seen. I'm sure you've heard about them from other folks as well by now, but I'll go through them and then just let me know what else you want to talk about from there. So as we know, we've got the election coming up soon. It's September, so ballots drop in a month. And that means we've got a few ballot measures that folks should know about in there. One of them is the big issue, which is the wards. And as we know, we've decided at the moment to put that question up on the ballot as 3 wards for the city, 2 councilors per ward, and those would be a rotating status. So at the moment, this question on the ballot does not change the number of councilors for the city, and it maintains the mayor's position as the same as it currently stands. And it really just asks voters, once and for all, we've kind of been coming back to this issue, I think, several times over years, whether we want one of the last few remaining at-large cities to be divided into wards, which there's a lot of pros and cons there both ways. I really do see it and understand it both ways. I've gone back and forth myself on this issue. So it is complicated and complex, and I'm really curious as to what constituents will say. But I also don't think we would be addressing it today if it wasn't what it seems like the majority of folks want. So we're putting that out there now. And then, of course, council has asked staff to put next year the question on the ballot, which would be, do we want 2 councilors at large as well? So we'll wait and see about that in 25. And then there's the ballot measure, of course, for our fire. Just expanding, the number of stations they have, which would look like a sales tax increase. And so, again, lots of pros and cons there. So, it's a very complex issue. And so I just want voters to know about it so that hopefully they can read up before the ballot hits their mailbox. So take a look at what it is, take a look at what it's for, why do we need it, and just know how, this might affect your city and its businesses and residents, and also the facilities in our city and our ability to respond to fire. So that's another big issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, feel free to dive in from there. Anything else?
Yeah, well, maybe we can kind of go, you've mentioned a few things now, and I kind of want to circle back and maybe talk about how or what roles small businesses might play in or be impacted by, for instance, the ballot measures or the budget. And so maybe we can just start with a couple of those and we can just chat about what the small business role or impact is with a few of these bigger issues.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Well, and so I can just share what I know, but honestly, a lot of that would be great to hear from you as well, right? As seeing as you're the center for the communications from a lot of the businesses. But yeah, what we don't want to see is for our sales tax to kind of hit a number that might affect the decisions of shoppers, right? We want to make sure that we keep our shoppers local and we keep them in the city of Westminster. And we need the revenue for all the things we do, right? Our roads, our police, our fire, for all of the things. And so it's really important, and of course for our local businesses first and foremost. So we need the dollars here, and so we want to make sure that our decisions don't impact such that residents decide to go shopping across the street. So that's something we're trying to keep a very close tap on. You know, how will this affect them? And, you know, the city has a lot of needs where our city, unlike many, doesn't really get revenue from our property taxes. And so while folks often have property taxes on their bill, a lot of times that's from the county or schools. And so that's not our city. It's a very minor amount. I forget what the percentage is, but real small amount. So our city in Westminster makes up the majority of its revenue from sales. So, you know, lots of pros and cons there. But I would love to know maybe more from you what you've been hearing from businesses and, you know, what they think may or may not happen.
Yeah, I think there's always a concern about increasing taxes and the impact that that can have when, you know, you can cross the street when our boundaries are so, you know, we've got boundaries everywhere that you can walk across the street and be in a completely different city, pretty much everywhere. And so I do think that that is a concern. I know that also people are also on the other side of that where they do see the need. So yeah, it's just an interesting, it's an interesting ballot measure, and kind of excited to see how that unfolds. So,
right. And then something I just thought of too is to your point, there's pros and cons, and we want to be there for our businesses, right? If we need to respond quickly. So there's that too, not only for our residents, but also for our businesses. So that's a piece of the pie.
Yeah. And then as far as like the budget, what are maybe some changes or things in the budget that might impact small businesses here?
That is a great question. I don't know if I know a good way to answer that. There are a lot of changes in the budget, but the majority of the changes we've seen are really organizational structure ones to our city, because our city has seen a lot of reorg over the last year or two. And a lot of that's been great. We've streamlined our departments and we've managed to make a lot of roles more efficient. And so that's a good thing. We're running healthy. There's a small increase to our staff, but it's pretty minimal. And that's just to fill some gaps that were there. So I just want to say overall, I'm really proud of our city staff for creating a budget that is so effective and efficient and fills the needs of the city that is such a vast, complex, you know, enterprise. And they do a great job. And we know they do because they just keep winning awards for their finances, right? I mean, I don't know. I think we're pretty incomparable with how well our auditing and financial reports go. So that's just big shout out to them. As far as how it affects businesses, I think overall, you know, folks should know that we're making dollars work for them. We're really making the money go further because we've streamlined so many different departments and the roles. And that hopefully is a good message out to the community to say, hey, not only is the way that our staff design the budget effective according to third-party resources, we've multiple years in a row won I think it's the GFOA award, this is called, which is pretty impressive. But not just the design of how they do it, and the transparency around, you know, we have our auditors come in and say that the method that they're creating their reports is very clean, which is great to know. But also what they've done overall, the overall composition of the budget is such that the changes that have taken effect over the last 2 years have created it so that our dollars go further. So those are all really positive messages that I'm excited about. I don't know that I have a whole lot of info for small businesses themselves at the moment. I'll just keep trying to think about that question as we chat and get back to it.
Yeah, no problem. And I kind of want to ask how do you think that, what's the best way to improve community engagement, and what's the best way for residents to get closer to that decision-making process that's happening?
Absolutely. So that is something that, by the way, our city really already excels at. We have one of the most engaged populations of any city, and that is a great thing. I am really proud of how often, citizens speak up. They make sure their voices are heard because they know that it matters when they speak to us. And so that's really important. I frequently speak to other councilors in other cities, and they'll say, oh yeah, our public comment was 5-10 minutes, and as we know, that doesn't happen here in Westminster, right? So we have an engaged population. So that's fantastic, 2-3 hours. And it's not just once in a while, blue moon. I mean, that's almost every Monday. That's consistently. So that's amazing. Great job, community. And I think it speaks well, to the fact that it means that our government is working, because citizens would not be so engaged if they felt like there was no point showing up, right? And so if they felt like we were going to do the same thing no matter what, they wouldn't be there. So that's really impressive as well, right? It shows that two-way communication. To the engagement piece, we did have a budget town hall over the summer, and we changed up the format of that town hall from years prior to where, the councilors aren't just sitting in a row where folks can ask us questions, but we were sitting down at a table with the community members and going over individual topics and asking the community, what changes do you want to see in what specific area, and where would you like, your dollars to go? What is the most important thing to you right here in our city? And I'll just mention a shout out from that town hall. Every single table named open spaces as one of their major priorities. So that tells you what a big priority that is for residents in the city, that every table for all the councilors mentioned that. So I just want to say the process has been a little bit changed this year to provide more engagement, one through that budget town hall, but the process also engaged council and the public a little bit earlier this year. We said, hey, we're doing the budget. If you have requests, let us know. And so that's been open either online or through emailing us throughout the year. And what we've seen is more feedback this year than in years prior. And that's a discussion I had just over this last week with our interim city manager about, how that's been going. And he said that we've had, more feedback this year, which is fantastic. And that he's looking to see what can be done for next year to make sure that we have even more feedback, that we're really getting and capturing what it is that residents want to hear. So I think that there's several things we can do, which is starting the process earlier from a public standpoint. We know that our city staff is working on this. As soon as one budget is finished, they start working on the next year, right? They're already on it. But how do we say, hey, public, this is going on. What is it that you would like to hear? And another piece of that, I can't promise that this will happen, but I've been pushing, is I'd really love to see on our new website that'll be built, hopefully in a year. I would really love to see little, inboxes, like chat boxes for specific issues, to where when your request or question goes through, it goes into one area that we can save on the internal side, so that we see all the issues. So we don't have to sort through emails. So we see everything in one place, and then staff can address them. And then the hope that I would like to see is then we fully address those on the website as well, right? So then we say, this is everything we've been seeing. If one person had this question, likely others do. Here's what we've addressed so far. This is what we've already covered in the budget. What else would you like to see? And then it becomes an ongoing conversation throughout the year. And we can use this for many other issues as well. But I'm really excited. The feedback I've heard is maybe. We're trying. So we're trying to make that happen. But that's what I want to see, because I think that, technology gets us to better communication and better transparency. And so then people can be involved when it's convenient for them. When they wake up at 3 a.m. and they say, wait a minute, I forgot to say on Monday's public comment that I also want to see this. they can put it, I hope that we can just put it online and then we capture it and we have it. So that's another one of my big aims. But overall message, our engagement is improving, and that's fantastic.
Awesome. Yeah, I like that idea a lot. I hope that happens. Kind of in the same vein here, are there ways that people can get more involved? Not necessarily just let you know their opinions, but how can people get involved in the city and in what's going on here?
Absolutely. So we have the first one I always think of when I think of getting involved is volunteering. I don't know if that's what you mean, but we definitely have our volunteer coordinator in our city staff, and she does a great job of letting folks know what's happening in the city. It's also, in my opinion, when you sign up to volunteer just once, then you get to know what's happening in the future. Whether you want to, whether you have the chance to volunteer or not, you get a lot of the updates. And so that's really helpful. You get kind of a heads up before something happens that this event is going to happen. So if you want to volunteer, you can. So online, you can sign up for that volunteer newsletter. I don't remember the email address right now, but I could get you that if you're curious, but on the website. And what else can we do? And those are different events, like I said, throughout the year. So that's a good way to keep a tab on what's going on in the city. Another way to be involved, of course, is through our boards and committees. And I realize that is a selection process. So, once you go through the application, if you're not selected, then, what then? And so that's probably where we're at. But for the folks who really love to be engaged, there's those planning committees. And I say that just in case anyone is new to that piece of it. And then almost everything we do is open, so when we have events, thanks for posting links. Thank you.
I'm like typing while you're talking. So I am paying attention. I'm just trying to.
I love that. Oh gosh, I lost my train of thought now. So no. I was just like, that's great. I was trying to do that. I was hoping that I could do that, and you did it. So that's great. But yeah, a lot of the things that we do are public, right? So, our study sessions, I remind folks frequently that, yes, we're probably going to be pretty boring that night. We're heads down in the weeds of whatever topic it is that we're talking about, but that is public, and you're welcome to sit in and listen there in person. And that's a reminder to get a good idea of what it is we're focused on. And then you can bring those questions to us via email or the next time in public comment. And a lot of our events, we've had more events than ever lately, I think, through Movies in the Park and we've got Westy Fest, and we've got, the fire department does a lot of events throughout the city, and then we have National Night Out. And so those are all items that I encourage folks to, again, take a look at the website and look on the calendar as to when those are, because often there will be one, if not more, of the counselors present if you want to ask us questions. And sometimes the questions aren't always for us. If they're for your police, then they are there. If they are for your fire, then they are there. And so take a look at the calendar and show up to those community events. There's usually free food, so that might help get you there. And then you can talk to us one-on-one in a less formal setting. And those community events are a ton of fun as well. And to that point, I also want to pitch another thing that I'm trying to make happen is if we can get one calendar for everything that we're doing up on our new website, then we can see all of the things, because we do a really good job with our outreach, our digital outreach. We're doing better. We've got Instagram accounts for a lot of our departments, our fire and police, they're all working on that. And for our city communications, we've got Twitter, we've got Facebook, but a lot of it's kind of piecemeal at the moment still. And so I think that the ask, I've heard it from a few different folks, but also just I'm biased because I want to see it, is to have everything in one place. Where can you see a full calendar? And then you can just come by if you're available. So we're trying to make that happen too. We will see. Again, no promises, but that should be helpful.
Awesome. Great. So many ways. Thank you. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm going to ask just kind of a fun question. I talked with Councilor DeMott last Friday and asked him this. He had a good answer. If you had a visitor that had never been to Westminster and they were here for one day, where would you take them and what would you do and why?
That's a great question. I'd probably drive them around first, because I like to drive actually anyone who visits around and point out things. So first I'd go down to historic Westminster, and go to the historic area, walk around, get a coffee. And then I'd probably drive down and take a look at the mushroom water tower and point that out because it just got a new paint job recently. And I'm like, look at how shiny our new mushroom water tower is. And I just think it's cool because I like symbolism a lot. And I like to, that symbolizes, the farm history that we have in the city. And so then I could like babble on about, hey, and this area had farms and mushrooms and that's why that's there. Isn't that cool? And then I'd probably take them around, do a loop, and go by some of our Westminster Hills open space and then over to Stanley Lake. Stanley Lake is my favorite place. So I'd probably stop there for the end of the day. That's my favorite place in Westminster. It is beautiful. And we are so lucky to have that whole body of water. How many cities? Colorado, as we know, is, water stricken, and we have a whole freaking lake in our city. That is so cool. So my one of my favorite things to do is like run and jog, do a loop, in that area. But anybody who comes into town, I take them hiking. So I'd probably go hiking and then I'd point out the birds and I'd be like, hey, we have eagles and we have cameras that watch the eagles. And I'd probably bring a picnic basket with me because I do that a lot. And then just sit down by the water and say, isn't this amazing that we get to live right on the suburbs of Denver and Boulder's over there. And we get nothing but this gorgeous view of the mountains and those eagles and this water. And that's just one of my favorite places to be. So,
yeah, it really is exceptional. Westminster is a really great place for sure. And you're right about just kind of the lake and the views. I was telling a friend, I think just yesterday or the day before, that a lot of times when people live places, they start to take for granted what they have there. And I don't think we do that here. I think every time we look at the mountains, we're like, oh my gosh, that's just stunning.
Yeah, it is. We're so lucky.
Yeah.
Ooh, hike of choice.
Dave, who is a fellow hiker. This is a good question. What is your hike of choice if you're going to stay very local?
Yeah. Yeah, that would be Stanley. I go there all the time. Sometimes I bring my cat. I put her on a collar.
Oh my gosh. So you're one of those.
I know. She loves it. And then she can like smell the prairie dogs, so she never gets, she can smell them and she'll like stick her nose down a hole. And I'm like, you better be careful. So anyway, that's really fun. So yeah, I've taken a lot of people through Stanley Lake. So that's definitely my favorite hike locally. But I'll mention another one that I've done a lot as well is the Highland Hills area, Highland Hills open space. And that's because I'm close to that pond as well. So I frequently do short little loops. I can get there from my house, which is really nice. I can just walk there and not have to get in the car. So I've done that one a lot as well. That one's great.
Yeah. Well, I'll probably see you there. I walk around there at least twice a day. So.
Oh, wow.
I live in the neighborhood that's like right there. So yeah.
Good to know. Okay.
I'm sure we'll run into each other.
Yeah, we'll probably pass you and just never notice, when you've got like your hair up and a sports bra.
I never pay attention. I always have my headphones or like my earbuds in, and I'm always like in my own world. Like there could be like a mountain lion stalking me and I would have no idea. So
yeah. No, me too. I'm always up in my own world. I'm very much like a gazer. Like I'll be staring at the sky. I'm like, oh my goodness, it's so beautiful. Or I'm staring at the water, so yeah.
Yeah. Or looking for turtles or who even knows?
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Well, awesome. Do you have anything else that you want to mention or want people to know about?
Well, now that we're talking about Highland Hills, I'm just talking about this specifically because this is where my brain is. I want everyone to know that in late summer, that whole area is covered in sunflowers and it's so beautiful. And that's where the background picture for my campaign website last year came from. Not that it matters, but I'm just like, because at some point I was sitting there staring and taking photos of all the flowers and how beautiful it is there. So go check out our wildflowers in our city. What else? I'm trying to think. I think that's it for me at the moment. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, we definitely appreciate you always coming on with us and giving our viewers a chance to get to know you a little better. And we look forward to having you back in a few months.
Thank you so much. You have a great rest of your day. I love joining here. So thank you.
Yeah. Thanks all. You too. Yeah. Thanks everyone for joining. Everybody have a great day.